All Bay Music Magazine, issue 14, and All Bay Cannabis, issue 1. And that's who you guys are?
Traphouse, man.
Traphouse Cannabis Co.
Okay. Individually?
I'm Maceo Lyons. I'm the CEO, Traphouse.
Okay. Sharpville Augustine, boss hitter, CFO.
Kevin Harvey, COO, Traphouse Cannabis Co.
So Traphouse Cannabis Co. So first thing I wanted to ask is kind of what inspired the name Traphouse Cannabis Co.
Somebody want to take that?
Go ahead, man. You take that, man.
Come on, you just told
And
me.
so Traphouse, man. So we come from the streets, man. We come from trapping, and so actually we that's where we met in the traditional market. And that was back in the day, and we took that. You know what I'm saying? It's the work. It's the trapping. Mm-hmm. And so we took that from the streets and brought it to the front door.
How does that feel to secure a name that obviously, I mean, trapping goes without being said in a sense, but just to be able to bring that into the legal market, how does that feel?
I mean, it feels great, man. I mean, I think it embodies what we're all about, you know, trying to make something out of nothing. You know, the Traphouse, you know, you had the candy lady with the ices, you know, she probably had a little something extra that she was sliding up in there, you know what I mean? We all know them, one is in every hood, you know. And then, you know, you had certain neighborhoods where it was the Traphouse, and, you know, they were selling anything they was selling up out of there, you know. And so, you know, of course, it's all about cannabis now, but, you know, we've all kind of been other places and done other things, but it all started with cannabis. You know, it all started, you know, it all started with that. That was the basis for everything. When we first jumped off the porch, that's what it was all about. You know,
$5 bags of weed.
Yeah, $5 bags of weed, death row. You know what I mean? The front of the Opera House, 3rd Street. You know,
$5 bags of weed.
Absolutely.
Big bags too.
Yeah. Okay.
Ones, fluffy ones.
Yeah. Fluffy. Yeah, I remember that.
Probably about an eighth.
But still, in the 90s, we started calling them pillow sacks, man, when we came out with Dane.
So this is officially before dub sacks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dub sacks is like this.
All right.
Yeah. And just going back, actually, my father was the weed man. And so I came up, man. These guys are from the Hunters Point. I'm from Fillmore. And so...
City situation.
Yeah, it's a city situation, man. And then we came together. But yeah, it was back then. That was the thing to do, you know. And that was the avenue that they gave us. It wasn't a lot of avenues back then. This is before crack, before anything. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was the weed. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the same with my family. You know, my parents. My mother, father, they was the weed. You know, they had the weed. They were some of the first people to bring down sesame with no seeds, no stems from Humboldt County. Huh. You know, when everybody else had California, Colombian gold, right, and, you know, Thai Buddha with all the stems and seeds. They had the no stems, no seeds, selling it to all the youngsters on death row. And him and I went to school with everybody. But, you know, like, I wasn't dabbling in the streets, and they was like, everybody, man, you ain't hustling? It's like, nah, man, I go to school, man. I'm a straight A student, man. Back up off me. You know, but, you know, it didn't take long, you know, just because it was just...
I had it up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I had carte blanche. I could go wherever I wanted because he sold weed to everybody. Mm-hmm. So it was like I was welcome wherever I wanted to. I knew I couldn't go to Harbor Road because that's where he was at. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But everywhere else, that was where I was creeping.
That's tight. So technically, Traphouse Cannabis was founded in San Francisco.
Yes.
That's tight. And so, what what do you say to the young entrepreneurs that want to pursue cannabis? Like, this seems like almost an impossible goal in a sense, like with legalities and things like that. But one thing I want to make the viewers understand is that Traphouse Cannabis is the actual legal cannabis company in California.
Right.
Absolutely.
So what was like the what was it like pursuing that goal And yeah, like how would somebody pull something like that off? Like it seems like if you weren't doing this a long time, the opportunity would be scarce.
Yeah, I mean, it's really the barrier to entry is extremely high. In a lot of cases, it takes hundreds of thousands, if not millions, to break in to the game with all the licensing and securing, and building, and the green zones and all of that kind of thing. But we started going when the equity program began in San Francisco. The Office of Cannabis began. They hired a group called the Original Equity Group to put on a series of workshops about how to break into the cannabis industry, whether it be starting a brand, whether it be a bud tender, whether it be pursuing a license. And so we started going to those meetings.
Cool.
And just trying to figure out a way to get in. You know what I mean? We had a couple of dollars, but like we wasn't interested in getting no building that was going to cost us $20,000 a month. That's the money, because our kind of money and the kind of money that's really needed is a whole different level. You know what I mean? And so the Original Equity Group, shout out to OEG, they taught us a lot. They taught us that there were ways to get in and, do what they call like a white labeling deal. But in our case, like, you hear about a lot of celebrities like Wiz Khalifa and I'm not sure about the game structure, but a lot of these guys have white labeling deals. So they're famous, they're known for smoking weed.
Basically what you were speaking on.
Yeah, they're known for smoking weed, and so you have companies that are already established that'll come to them and get them to put their name on it, and they'll make a royalty. But in our situation, we were able to go to someone who had a license and had a facility and work out a deal where we're able to operate under their license.
Okay.
And so it's not a white. It's like a white label deal, but it's not a white label deal because we're responsible for all of the marketing.
Right.
All of even going to dispensaries and getting them to buy it and everything. So,
right.
That was kind of a little bit of a workaround.
That sounds like the first deal of its kind in a sense.
Well, no, actually, there were deals like that before. They just not widely known, and so some years back, I used to do case management working with at-risk youth, and I had a particular student. His name was Morris Kelly, and Morris, I ended up running into him years down the line. And he owns a company called SF Roots. Mm-hmm. And it was the first equity company in San Francisco to come through up under the program. And he had secured that type of deal. And he was in a situation where he was about to become a partner in a distro. And he brought us to the table. You know what I mean? And we talked about it. We worked out the particulars and we signed the deal. And so, we began there. He's since moved on and got into another situation. I guess it was more advantageous to him. But, we still cool. You know what I mean? We still, shot each other out and everything. And, we're forever grateful for him setting us up with the situation that we have now. And so, it's kind of like who you know what I mean? But the distro that we're at is open to anyone who's serious about starting a brand. Of course, you do have to have a little bit of money behind you because the packaging, everything that's involved with running this business takes some money, but it's not impossible. You know what I mean? You can come in with as little as maybe $50,000. You know what I mean? And start and build from the ground up. But ideally, you would want more than that. But you don't have to go out and buy a license and get your own building and all of that.
So there's other ways, basically, to invest in cannabis.
Absolutely.
And have some ownership.
Exactly. It's about. We have 100% ownership. But we're linked in with a deal and it's kind of a a mutually beneficial situation.
Right.
And so like Locals Distro, where we're at, are also known as the Burt Group, is who we're with. You know what I mean? And they're all about giving guys like us the opportunity to break into the game. You know what I mean? And they have the licensing. They've done all the work already.
Big shout out to Luke.
Big
Big
shout out
shout
to
out to you. Put your gumball in my pocket at that.
That's interesting because I think out of a lot of the cannabis companies right now on the rise, I do believe in the platform that Luke is creating. I was kind of calling him like the first cannabis incubator of its kind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, tell us. Let's talk weed, man. Cannabis. What are the strains you guys are dropping right now? Like, I'm hearing about the fritters. I'm hearing great thing about the fritters. What are some other strains we got dropping?
So we got Cream 2 coming. So a few months back we launched a strain. It's it's kind of, it has its parentage in ice cream cake and a few other things in there. We call it cream, like cash rules everything around me,
right?
With the acronyms. So we have another cut that's very similar to that. We call it in Cream Cut 2. That'll be launching probably around the 30th of the month. We got some apple fritter. Shout out to Finest Genetics for that. We got we also have a sub brand coming out called Red Label, powered by Traphouse. And the reason we started this sub brand is because we wanted to make a distinction between the different levels of weed that we carry. Because when you hear a name like Traphouse, you expecting some fire. You know what I mean? Fire, it's a street name that's associated with indoor, and headbuster shit. But we also have some light depth, outdoor. Everybody can't afford to spend $80 a joint.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and some of that sun-grown shit, man, that shit be 30%, 32% THC. But, a lot of people turn their nose up at it. Mm-hmm. So what we decided to do, so we didn't cause any brand confusion, is to start a sub-brand for the lower, what people would consider the lower end shit. You know what I mean? That's the shit that...
The mids.
The mids, the light depth. Yeah. But, don't get me wrong, some of this shit is hitting hard, too. But... we ain't gonna play no games. This is what it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we got.
And there's a market for it. And
absolutely.
So
it's the biggest market.
Our biggest seller is that mid.
Yeah.
And so we got that fire. We got that headbanger.
Yeah.
And there's a market for that, but that actually that Tropicana, them lemon Kush mints is what's going.
And those are going in bags.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, just out of curiosity, like. Obviously, going legal is an amazing thing. Mm-hmm. What was the first store you guys debuted in?
Burners on Hate, baby. We debuted on Broadway, baby. Burners on Hate. You know what I mean?
Sean Richards, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to our guy. Yeah, we gave him exclusivity. Exactly. for actually, we signed this deal 60 days. We're gonna give you exclusive. You can just find Traphouse on Burners on Hate. In 30 days, it was going so hard. Actually, Sean called me and said, "Look, Kev, you gotta. It's just too much. We gotta let you guys go and spread your wings."
Okay.
And so
I got somebody, man.
Exactly.
They asking to go over Bar Rico's and say, "Well, okay."
Man. They want you.
That's amazing. Like, one thing I think is interesting, to watch just overall on cannabis is the cookie supply chain.
Yeah.
And so, if I ever, had a cannabis brand, to debut at Burners on Hate San Francisco, where it all started, is legendary. Yeah. Especially you guys are from the city.
Right. It was bringing things back home.
That's it. That's it.
So what are your guys' goals from here as far as like cannabis? Like, do you guys hope to expand into other kinds of operations? Like, where are your guys' mind frame in that moment and in that space?
Well, we see Traphouse as a lifestyle brand. You know what I mean? And so it's not just about the weed, you know what I mean, and smoking weed. Everybody, you know, not everybody smokes. You know what I mean? Some people have different forms of consumption. You know what I mean? Some people like to eat it. Some people are only into topicals. And so, you know, I mean, now, of course, Traphouse cannabis rub doesn't sound, you know what I mean? That shit don't sound fly, right? You know what I mean? But we plan on launching another brand, our sister brand, Kazi, that'll cover, you know, it's a little more accessible to, say, your soccer mom and, you know, some of our older relatives and people that we know that not necessarily, you know, with the young hip shit, you know, trap house, you know what I mean? You know, but we plan on, you know, bringing out apparel, and we got some other things, man, in the works, you know what I mean? We'll make the announcements when the times are right. When the times are right, you know, we'll let the world know. So
I can't help but to think about Gucci Man in the song "In My Trap House," but I could just totally see like a commercial with your guys' brand, and it seemed like something that Gucci need to get his hands on for sure.
Yeah. He needs to taste this shit.
You know what I mean? It sound like
I'll be out there.
Y'all gotta get that presidential package.
I'll be out there in a couple of weeks.
In the A.
You see me with it on.
So, one thing that I think people don't realize about cannabis companies is how they give back to the community. I would love to hear, and we haven't talked about this, but I know how generous the cannabis community is to the community. You know what I mean? Let's talk about some of the things that you guys have been doing for the community and some of your plans moving forward.
So definitely want to start giving back. Made sure work with at youth risk. I'm a social worker, and I work with adults who use cannabis instead of psychotropic medications. And so we're getting into the field where we're philanthropic, where we're giving back to different programs and meal giveaways and our t-shirts and hoodies and backpack giveaways for the kids when they're going back to school, all this kind of things. We wanna build a community around Traphouse.
Also, we also sponsor a program called Urban Born that was originally founded in LA by a gentleman named Jonell Langerson. He owned a graphics company called Funky Fat Graphics. You might have heard of them. They've done album covers. They used to do all of Aaliyah's album covers, Tank, Rodney Jerkins, artists, Beyonce. Nevertheless, he moved to St. Louis and started an organization out there working with, you know, youngsters. He gets them young, and he has a basketball program. That's the hook to get them through the door. But if they come in to participate in the basketball program, they have to participate in the literacy program. Okay. And so we're a big sponsor of them as well. I think we bought them a popcorn machine the year before. Last year, we bought the stain that goes on the gym floor. Now they just got redone, and we're about to give them a check here in the next week or two because they're about to start their season here. They usually start their season in April. It's running a little behind because of COVID, but we're about to get them a nice little check as well, and hopefully ultimately bring it back to either San Francisco or the Sacramento area. I really want San Francisco area because this is where we from, and we understand the culture and the mindset of the youngsters a little better. You know what I mean? Got a little more reach in the street, so. You know, I think this is where we can do our best work.
Thanks. So, obviously, everything's become legal, at least statewide, and then on the recreational side, federal government's still running slow. What do you guys think about the way these companies are getting their licenses? Do you think it's fair? Do you think that maybe it could even be racially biased?
I mean, I think it's racially biased by default. You know, it's all about big business, man. You know what I mean? You know, they always taking something that, you know, urban communities create and rebranding the shit, co-opting the shit. You know what I mean, and making it their own, and then forcing people out. We've seen it with the numbers racking. Now we got the lottery, right? You know, the alcohol business. You know what I mean? Same thing. You know what I mean? The barriers to entry, you know, are they make it so high that only a few people can participate. You know, and I mean,
in this cannabis business.
Oh yeah, ain't no doubt. I mean, the shit is the deck is totally stacked, man. You know what I mean? You know, if I was a different mind and somebody asked me how do I get into the legal business, I say don't get into the shit, man. Keep trapping too. You know what I mean? Because ain't no money in this shit. You know what I mean? Not at least not in the immediate. You know, but if you can build a brand, you know, if you can stay profitable or at least stay growing your company. You know, some years down the line, man, when that federal legalization comes in and, you know, this shit goes global, man. I mean, you know, the big companies are going to come in looking for companies that are already established. And, you know, hopefully we're positioned to be able to, hey, look, y'all can buy this shit. You know what I mean? Or, you know, cut us a check and buy a portion of it and we'll stay and keep running.
The Philip Morris's, the big boys.
Yeah.
And they're coming.
Yeah.
They're definitely coming.
They definitely come.
Yeah.
You know, and so
They're just sitting back waiting to see who blows up, to see
who set it all up.
What happens.
Yeah.
Like we was talking the other day about the cookies thing with Gage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Two of the biggest companies for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Burner laid the blueprint, man.
For sure.
We trying to follow the blueprint. Of course, we trying to put our own little tweaks on it, but he laid the blueprint. You know what I mean? If you can, you know, if you can hang on, and stay relevant, and create a good system, man. You know, that's where the money's gonna come in. Like right now on the day-to-day shit, man. You know, it's a grind, man. It's a grind for sure.
Right.
You know,
It's not a 9 to 5.
it's not a night. It ain't for the faint of heart, man. You know what I mean? But I always been a risk.
And it's not a get rich quick scheme.
No.
This ain't no backdoor, man. It's hard work, bro.
To me, it's a 6 to 6.
Yeah, you got to turn the phone off. You have to set the boundary, and you get up in the morning, answering calls, you're on the emails, and then when it gets to that certain time, turn that phone off, because you'll work 20 hours a day on this thing, man. Yeah.
What's the plans for 420?
Oh, shit. 5 Leland.
So,
We'll be at 5 Leland.
but even before,
But it's a lot of things going on with
419 Traphouse Day on Burners on Hay. 1 to 5. Everybody come out. 1 to 5 on 419. 420
5 Leland.
5 Leland.
5 Leland Street.
But we'll be at the Speakeasy in the back of West Point too, in Hunters Point on Evans.
Yeah.
From what's that? 2 to 7.
From 5 to 7.
5 to 7.
5 to 7. Yeah.
5 to 7. Traphouse be in the building.
Exactly.
So at the Speakeasy,
Right.
in the back of West Point, right there on is it Ennis Street,
It's
right?
Evans.
Yeah.
Evans,
Evans.
where
Evans.
Evans meets Ennis.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And then we'll also be at Dr. Green Thumb's in Sacramento from, I believe, 11 to 5 there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we trying to be a little bit everywhere. Man. We trying to touch
The lemonade store in Sacramento.
not the lemonade store, Dr. Green Thumb.
No, I'm saying,
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Green Thumb.
And they can buy the Traphouse strains there?
Oh man, everywhere. Everybody have it.
Yeah,
Shit,
yeah.
Everybody have
They
it.
can find Traphouse there.
They get some free giveaways wherever we at.
Yeah.
Come get a t-shirt, get a hat. Yeah.
Hoodie.
Yeah.
So as far as online, what's the easiest way for people to find you and the menu and everything?
Instagram.
Shit, Google it. Shit. Google Traphouse, man. Traphouse itself will pop up.
Yep. Instagram. Traphouse Cannabis Co. and Traphouse Cannabis Co. SF. Okay. And then there's a link tree. And the link tree will still under construction, but it'll take you to some of the other things. You can also find us on Facebook as well.
Yeah, we got a QR code, man. QR that shit, man. Take you to everything.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Do you guys have any last words or shout outs you want to give?
Keep trapping.
Shout out to
Trapping, man.
Burners on Hate. Shout
Yes,
out to
definitely.
Barbary Coast, San Francisco, both Sunset and Mission. Shout out to Conscious Minds. Conscious Minds Delivery and Distro in Oakland. Shout out to Gold Barn up in Davis. In Dixon. Shout out to Dr. Green Thumb. Shout out to the Lemonade Store, Sacramento.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Cookies Hayward.
Yep.
Shout out to Locals Equity Distro. Ramon Garcia, Morris Kelly, Nina Parks,
SF Roots,
Marie Marquette. Who else? I hope I ain't
Fair
forgetting.
Game.
Right. We gave
Shout out to Fair Game.
Shout out to
Fair
Sean
Game,
Richards.
man. Sean Richards.
Yeah,
Presidential.
absolutely. Yeah.
Shout
out to Luke.
Shout out to MBD Boy.
Exactly.
Shout out to motherfucking Luke, definitely.
Absolutely.
Luke first and foremost, Luke.
Yeah.
Luke, I need some more of this shit.
Prime Evolution.
But
Primo. Prime
we need them
Evolution.
nerds.
Shout
Oh
out.
yeah, so my big cuz Supreme, yeah. Most definitely. No sucker shit. We don't do that shit in Frisco.
That's it.
Shout out to RBL, shout out to G Squad, my motherfucking M Bros.
Like, see,
Motherfucking shout out to Castle Boys.
be legit.
Be legit, Bila, my nigga, Kings of Cali.
TY
Motherfucking
Entertainment.
really.
TY Entertainment.
On some real shit.
TY. Exactly.
Motherfucking right.
Yeah.
JB. Big cuz, JB, big cuz.
Absolutely.
Fro.
Beasley.
Yep.